And as we keep an eye on mask mandates, Moderna has announced a new and improved booster shot. The company says this new version can target two variants. Senior policy reporter Ann Flaherty and Chief Innovation Officer at Boston Children's Hospital, ABC News contributor Dr. John Brownstein are both here to break this down for us. Good morning to you both. Dr. Brownstein, I want to start with this mask confusion because at this point, given infection rates, hospitalization rates, vaccination rates, et cetera, in what situations do you recommend that people wear masks? And does that differ whether you're vaccinated or not?
Right. Well, we have to remember, we have not yet transitioned in this pandemic to a seasonal virus like the flu. So we still have to remember we're in a pandemic, and the CDC continues to recommend people wear that mask in indoor public transportation settings. They can't enforce it, but they recommend it. And so why colleagues like mine are very concerned is that even on planes where you have good filtration, you have a lot of people in enclosed spaces for a prolonged time, and that creates opportunities for disease transmission. And especially pre and post boarding a plane, you have these close proximity settings. So I would highly recommend still considering that mask in those crowded indoor spaces as well as in public transportation. Yes, cases have dropped, but we're seeing that surge in BA2. So we have that concern across the country, especially here in the Northeast. I'll continue to wear a mask. I'll especially be considering a well-fitted, high-quality mask, like an N95. Yes, one-way masking is less effective, but still can contribute to reduction in transmission up to 95% if that mask fits well. And especially if you're unvaccinated, really you want to consider that mask. It will be an important protection to you. Obviously, if you're in a high-risk group, you may even want to reconsider air travel at the moment while letting cases come back down in your community.
Now, kids under 5 can't get vaccinated and kids under 2 can't wear masks. So how can parents still protect their young kids when flying, for example, Dr. Brownstein?
Yeah, this is a big concern for so many parents out there. This is the real challenge and why so many parents are concerned, and it's putting the burden back onto those families that, those kids can't get vaccinated yet. So, of course, if a kid can mask, yes, please do so. I think that will be an important protection. And if you're, under that, 2 age group where you can't mask quite yet, yeah, I think you may want to consider your risk tolerance. The best advice is to put that child in a window seat, turn that air nozzle up, try to keep them sort of cocooned as much as possible, especially going in and out of the plane. But really, it's going to be up to, families to decide what their own personal risk tolerance is at this point.
And the White House coordinator for COVID-19, Dr. Ashish Jha, tweeted saying that the new mask ruling, quote, was deeply disappointing and that CDC scientists had asked for 15 days to make a more data-driven, durable decision. Now, the Justice Department says it will appeal if the CDC says that the mandate is necessary, but the CDC says only that, quote, we will continue to assess the need for a mask requirement in those settings. So where does that leave things?
Well, that's right. I think the Biden administration is in a big bind here because all indications were that they were prepared to let this mask mandate expire on May 3rd. And then they were hit with this ruling by this Trump-appointed judge in Florida. I spoke with legal experts yesterday who say they thought that this wasn't a solid ruling. They thought it was sloppily written, and that the Biden administration can challenge this. But of course, by the time any sort of legal wrangling gets off the ground, May 3rd will come around and the whole point becomes moot. So on the one hand, do you go to bat and fight legally for a policy that, by the way, 25% of Americans, AP's out with a new poll this morning, about a quarter of Americans don't support this policy, and that was set to expire anyway. But at the same time, do you cede authority to this Florida judge and acknowledge, let this ruling stand on the books that says that you don't have the authority to mitigate the risks of the next wave? The CDC wants to retain authority to mandate masks in the future. But this might not be the time that they want to do it.
Now, Dr. Brownstein, Moderna now says that it has this new and improved COVID shot that works better than the original vaccine because it targets 2 variants. So what do we know about this shot, and when do you think it will be available to Americans?
Yeah, no, this is really great news. For flu shots, we target multiple strains. This helps reduce the risk of flu infection. And here, this is, an important step because it's clear that our existing vaccines are having diminishing powers. And so what do we do to adapt our vaccines to what circulating variants we might expect in the future? So this is why they've targeted this concept of a bivalent vaccine. So it can target 2 variants at the same time. There's initial research, not yet peer reviewed, though, that has shown that if they combine the original variant plus beta, they can actually get real strong defense against those variants, but also Omicron and Delta. And so that is really exciting because it can provide better protection and more prolonged protection over time. And clearly, we want to be targeting Omicron. We have BA1, BA2, 3, 4. So anyways, the timing of this decision really ultimately means we're waiting for some data to come out. And then ultimately, hopefully in the fall, we'll see these new and improved boosters.
All right. And Flaherty, Dr. Brownstein, great to have you both. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.